This is Where Porn Stars Go to Die, Episode 4, Jerry's Penis Breaks the Internet. The surgery Jerry had on his penis was now complete, and even though his doctor described it as a Hail Mary, Jerry was hopeful it would one day function again. He was discharged from the hospital and spent the next 3 days in bed at his Hollywood apartment. He wallowed in self-pity and Pepperidge Farm frozen chocolate cakes. Sometimes he didn't give the cakes enough time to thaw, so he had to bite on the frozen corners hard with his teeth. It was a frustrating way to maintain his blood sugar. He had money in the bank, but nowhere near enough to retire. Normally, Jerry would be ordering comfort food, but he was afraid to spend any money. With his penis broken, his future was completely uncertain. In the past, he had been given the opportunity to direct porn, but he didn't like it. It was too much trouble for too little money, he thought. Plus, he didn't get to have sex, which is something he always enjoyed. Sometimes well-known porn stars like Jerry got hired for non-sex acting roles, but the money was poor and Jerry was a terrible actor. On day 3, he finally moved himself from the bed to the couch. His living room was surrounded by dozens of boxes that he never unpacked from his last move. Many of the boxes held DVDs from earlier in his career with titles like Balls Deep, Balls, 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 Ballroom Spits, Great Balls of Jerry, and Canadian Teabags. He was frustrated by the clutter and got the idea of having a yard sale. Then he thought about kids looking through his stacks of porn DVDs and realized it was a bad idea and he could end up in jail. He carefully held a bag of frozen corn over his injured genitals as he flipped through the channels on TV. A door opened. Marla, a young newcomer to the porn industry, rushed out of the spare room holding a stuffed duffel bag. She froze when she saw Jerry. I thought you were still in bed, said Marla. No, said Jerry. Marla resumed moving toward the door. Hey, where are you going? Asked Jerry. I shouldn't intrude any longer, said Marla, anxiously. It's been a blast, but this week's getting late, and what? Asked Jerry. What's your rush? It's been fun, Jerry, said Marla. Nice working with you, and thanks for letting me crash here for so long. Call me, said Jerry. I'll get you to a party. Carrot Top's birthday's coming up. A lot of people will be there. Sweet, said Marla. Who's Carrot Top? Never mind, said Jerry. Okay, I'll see you around, said Marla before shutting the door behind her. Later that afternoon, Jerry decided to take a walk to a nearby taco stand that he often frequented. He was happy to get outside, but it was noisy. There were 2 news helicopters hovering not far away. Great, who got murdered now, wondered Jerry. He managed the 2-block walk to the taco stand where the owner told him there would be no charge for his meal. Jerry was a regular customer, but this had never happened before. The tacos were a nutritious meal relative to cake, and Jerry started to feel a lot better. As he continued walking, he noticed the helicopters were closer to him now than they were before. If I start having paranoid ideas, it's over for me, he thought. He decided to stop feeling sorry for himself and spend the rest of the afternoon at the beach. He thought the fresh air would do his penis good. When the Uber picked him up, the driver immediately recognized Jerry. Holy cow, you're Jerry Balls, said the driver, who had 18 tree-shaped air fresheners hanging from his mirror. How you doing? Said Jerry. I'll show you where to drop me by the pier. Man, you are one famous guy, said the driver. Do you watch my films? Asked Jerry, fishing for an ego boost that he needed more today than most days. Nope, said the driver. I try not to watch that stuff. It gets me in trouble with my wife, and I don't need that. That's too bad, said Jerry. Man, I can't believe I'm going to be on TV, said the driver. I've never been on TV before. Jerry was perplexed. You realize I'm not always on TV, right? Asked Jerry. We're not on TV now. Sure we are, said the driver. He opened his window and waved his hand toward the sky. Are you waving at the news helicopters? Asked Jerry. You want me to lose the copters in a parking garage? Asked the driver. I can. They're not following me, said Jerry. I didn't murder anyone. Whatever you say, boss, said the driver. And sorry about your ding-dong. That shit is awful. What? Asked Jerry. How'd you know about that? It's everywhere, said the driver. Instagram, Facebook, radio, local TV, national TV, Snapchat, WhatsApp, 4chan, Reddit, PBS, Telemundo, you name it. Even the preacher shows are talking about it. They're praying for you, Jerry. What? Said Jerry. Honestly, every man in the world is scared to have sex now, said the driver. They had an expert on CNN last night saying the population is going to drop because of you. What are you talking about? Asked Jerry. Like I said, it's all over the internet and TV, said the driver. Fox News said Bill Gates was behind it and everyone needs to watch out. Well, that makes no sense, said Jerry. No, man, TMZ had the picture yesterday morning, said the driver. It's everywhere. I'm surprised it's not on billboards. What picture? Asked Jerry. Your broken hoo-ha, said the driver. Jerry rolled his eyes. Was there a nurse in it giving a thumbs up? Asked Jerry. Yeah, that's the one. Is there a better one? Asked the driver. Because that one was pretty graphic. Guys were like, I'm never having sex again. Oh, brother, said Jerry. They arrived at the beach 20 minutes later and Jerry got out. So did the driver. What are you doing? Asked Jerry. Here, shake my hand, said the driver, offering his hand. He arched his head up to the sky. The helicopters were now over the beach. My wife texted. We're on the 5 o'clock news, said the driver, who smiled cartoonishly at the sky. Hi, Louisa, said the driver. Jerry walked away. They can't hear you, he said. He went looking for a bathroom inside a building that housed restaurants. Going pee was a delicate procedure, one that he had to execute carefully now. He stood at the urinal and cautiously proceeded. There was a young man with long blonde hair standing at the stall next to him. Jerry noticed him staring. The man seemed concerned. Hey, said Jerry. Dude, what are you going to do? Said the man. I'm going to try and pee, said Jerry. I mean, about your balls, said the man. They're so big. What's going to happen to them if you can't use them? Don't worry, said Jerry. Your Uber ride was on the evening news just now, said the man. They were showing it in the bar upstairs, and the next thing I know, you're standing next to me taking a piss. Are you serious? Asked Jerry. 100%, said the man. They had a co-worker of yours on. They asked him if you were a big Uber tipper. Are you? It wasn't a car chase, said Jerry. It was dramatic, said the man. They said you might have diarrhea from the tacos. Who said that? Asked Jerry. Don't know, said the man. I think they had your high school English teacher on at one point. And they call my business perverse, said Jerry. You know, that Uber driver totally blew the stop sign in Wilshire, said the man. You should rate him accordingly, dude. Jerry aborted his attempt at urination and hurried up the stairs to the bar. He entered the crowded pub to find everyone watching the local TV news on the televisions. They were showing an aerial shot of the building he was in. Hey, it's the guy with the penis, someone yelled while pointing at Jerry. Everyone in the room started quietly applauding, like when a football player with a horrific injury is hauled off the field strapped to a board. Oh my God, it's bleeding, screamed a woman who had one hand over her mouth and the other pointing towards Jerry's groin. Jerry looked down to see a wet spot in his sweatpants. He realized he must have leaked some pee, something his doctor warned him could happen. Jerry was left with no choice but to go back to the bathroom and aim his crotch at the hand dryer until the stain was gone. I can't let the helicopters hone in on that, he thought. Jerry walked down the boardwalk and looked for the nearest tree to hide under as the helicopters droned high in the sky. He leaned against a tree and for the first time in days turned on his phone. He had been avoiding the world since he first got out of the hospital, and that was a mistake. Not only was his voicemail full, he had received countless text messages from people all over the world that he knew and some that he didn't. He decided to phone his manager, Marty. "Jerry," shouted Marty on the other end. "Thank God!" Vegas had you down 1 in 5. 1 in 5 what? Asked Jerry. 1 in 5 that you were dead, said Marty. I've been refreshing TMZ every 30 seconds to see if it was true. I don't understand, said Jerry. I've got to cancel my bet, said Marty. Excuse me? Asked Jerry. Hey, did you hear about Taylor Swift? Said Marty. She retweeted an article about your dingling. The internet just blew up. No kidding. Maybe she'll write a song about it, said Jerry sarcastically. Jerry, you're the it boy right now, said Marty. You're the child who fell down a well. The whole world wants to know if you killed yourself or if your penis fell off or what have you. This is a nightmare, said Jerry. Nightmare, said Marty. What are you talking about? Your star rating on IMDb's cracked the top 10 this morning. Peter Dinklage was bumped to number 11, Jerry. 11! Not worth breaking my penis for, said Jerry. Wait, said Marty. Jerry, are you under a tree right now? Yes, said Jerry. How'd you know? Well, they can still see you. Let me flip to another channel. Yep, this one's even better. Man, the cameras on these things are getting crazy good, Jerry. Wonderful, said Jerry. He gave the helicopters the double finger. Did you spill something on your pants? Asked Marty. Not exactly, said Jerry. I want to go home, Marty. What should I do? Let me think, said Marty. A middle-aged couple approached Jerry with big smiles. Jerry Balls, the apostle of porn, how are you, sir? Said the man, reaching out his hand. Not the greatest, said Jerry. Do you want me to sign your wife? That would be fantastic, said the man. We own all your sex toys, said the woman. I have a really small vagina. Congratulations, said Jerry. Who are you talking to? Asked Marty over the phone. Who's the woman with a small vagina? Just a couple of fans, said Jerry. Put that woman on the phone, said Marty. Why? Asked Jerry. Just put her on, Marty shouted. I've got an idea. Jerry handed the woman his phone. My manager wants to talk to you, he said. The woman took the phone and held it up to her ear. I see, said the woman. Uh-huh. You want me to do what now? Okay. And I get to be in a Jerry video? Okay. The woman handed the phone back to Jerry. She got down on her knees in front of him. He wants me to pretend I'm giving you a BJ, said the woman. I guess you can't have blowjobs on the evening news. I've got to get a picture of this, said the man. Marty, what are you doing? Said Jerry into the phone. The woman placed her head in an obscene position in front of Jerry's groin and started to mime. Did you pee yourself? Asked the woman. Yes, sighed Jerry. Sure enough, the helicopter started to leave. It's working, cried Marty. They've cut to a pileup on the I-5. Great, said Jerry, relieved. Jesus, there's a man on fire running from the scene, said Marty. I can't believe they thought you were more interesting than this. You can get up now, said Jerry to the woman. Thank you for your service. Get in a cab and meet me at my office, said Marty. Okay, said Jerry. He signed the woman's cleavage with a Sharpie borrowed off a hot dog vendor and headed across town to see Marty. That's it for episode 4. We'll see you next time on Where Porn Stars Go to Die. I'm James Whittingham. Thanks for listening.